Wow.
We're recording, and that one's record. Is that one recording as well?
It is.
That one's okay.
It is.
Has that got me
And per John.
and per John?
There you go.
Perfect. Perfect. It's always nice to have a memento.
Memento? What's a memento?
A memento.
Souvenir.
A memory?
A souvenir.
Souvenir.
A memory. Yeah,
Memento.
exactly.
Direct. Okay. I think, should we move forward direct kasi the size of...
I can move the camera forward.
Okay, sige, please. Para we'll appear bigger. There.
That's okay.
There you go.
Sabi ni Ma'am Raquel, gali pupunta na naman ako ng kasal. Okay.
Alright.
Yung sound na to direct hindi naririnig ka naman.
Yun na yun. That's it.
Are we good?
You're good?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
You check your mic, per John.
Hello, direct. Can you check if it's
it's-
working?
Do you want me to test mine?
Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
test
Yeah.
yours also, please?
Yeah.
Hello.
So I'm just going to talk at like a normal level, like this. Not
Okay.
going to be shouting or
Oops.
going berserk or anything like that.
Alright.
Getting too excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we should not get excited.
No. Well, we can get excited, but we don't want to send the levels through the roof.
Yep,
You
yep.
know?
Okay.
Yeah. We just want to have some fun.
We just
really.
want to have some fun. Okay. We
Yeah.
learned a lot from here.
Yeah.
Thank you, direct. Thank you for
With the teddy bear as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got to have a teddy bear.
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We are to start the video recording. Where's that mouse? Okay.
Ready. High energy opening.
You okay? Okay. Higher energy opening. Thank you, direct, for the reminder.
Good luck, good luck.
Yeah, good luck to us. God bless. Welcome to Meet the Bosses with Perjan Gomez. Only here at bporadio.com, call center culture. Again, happy Tuesday, guys. Today, we're very grateful. We're very honored that we have a very special guest. He's from Doncaster, England, southern part of Yorkshire, right? He's a keynote speaker, a motivational speaker also, and he's a sales influencer. Actually, what I like the most is when I talked to him kanina, he was able to help Siemens, a global company, an electronics company, get a revenue of about 74% increase on their telesales department. Ladies and gentlemen, the one who helped Siemens made that happen, and the one who will inspire us today, our boss. Let's all welcome Mr. Steve Q. Hello, Sir Steve.
Hi, Perjon. How are you doing today?
I'm enjoying it here now because
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Okay, me too. Me too. As they say, that's the saying nowadays, isn't it? It's more fun in the Philippines.
That's
what
right.
they say. Yeah.
It's more fun in the Philippines indeed.
Absolutely.
And we have your camera here too, and
yeah.
your own camera
We're
because
camered up to the eyeballs. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
because apart from being a keynote speaker, guys, offline he's also doing a YouTube. He has a YouTube channel. He's a YouTuber, so he's also doing this online. To inspire us again, Steve Q is with us today. He's an expert in finance, finance services, investments, properties. He was also with Sir Bob Proctor of The Secret.
That's
I want to
right.
know more about
Yeah.
that, and he's good in writing, speaking, and training. Okay, Sir Steve, please say hi to our friends in Facebook now, Facebook Live at BPO Radio.
Hi everybody out there in BPO and telesales and customer service land. A big hello from me.
Amazing. Can we also, do you have a Facebook account?
I do have a Facebook account. It's something like at Steve Q Sales. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
At Steve Q
Sales.
Sales.
Yes.
Okay. And do you have a phone that maybe we can like share what we're doing now in our Facebook Live at BPO Radio?
Yeah, maybe. I think
your-
there's,
on your own phone?
I think there's a phone over there somewhere, maybe
DJ
on
Ben,
the
yes,
on the
yes.
couch. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, to our audience out there, may we invite you to please go to BPO Radio page and please share our post today. Yeah. Maraming
Yeah.
salamat.
Yet another mobile phone here. Let's have a look.
Okay, please.
And,
Please go to your Facebook.
We go to Facebook. What did we all do before Facebook? Can you? I can't remember. Can you? I just can't remember.
Actually, I was not able to go. I was not able to join Friendster craze that time, so it was only Facebook. And before that, all offline.
Yeah. So there you go at Steve Q Sales.
Oh, Steve Q Sales. Okay. Please also go to bporadio.com. BPO
BPO
Radio.
Radio.
Yun.
Okay, BP Radio here. BPO
Nag-uumpisa pa lang tayo, direct dinudugo na.
This one?
Yes. You know, I'm having nosebleed right now.
Oh no. This is the effect I have on people
I think this is my first
all the time. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The first
yeah.
time really to have a pure Englishman who came all the way from England but staying in Spain.
Yeah, you know what they say, Per John. If you're
Yes,
not having a
please.
nosebleed, it's not working.
It's not working.
Nah, it's just not working.
It's not just working.
No.
It's as if I'm watching my favorite Netflix series. It's called The Suits.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They tell me I've not seen that one, but they tell me it's
about
fantastic.
The lawyers, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, Direk, I think it's in BPO radio page, right, Direk?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, there, got it. So, were you able to see this one? And if you click on it, then maybe you can also share it. It's in BPO radio page, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Share, invite
and
friends to
post.
like.
Yun. Tapos, iniimbitahan ko na rin lahat ng mga nakikinig ngayon na sana tulungan nyo ako magtanong sa kanya in English para mas marami tayong matutunan, guys, okay? So, subukan natin na maging kaibigan ang ating napakahusay na speaker ngayong umagang ito. Actually, lunchtime na pala, so 12 noon, right? There.
It's working.
It's
yeah.
working now.
Yeah, it's all good.
Are there a lot of people in England, like from Philippines? Are there a lot of Filipinos back there?
Yeah, I think there's mainly quite a lot of Filipino people live in London, in the south of England. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of people
You're from the
live
south.
in England. I'm actually from the middle of the country, although it's called the north. But it's actually, if you look at it's crazy because if you look at a map of England, it's actually right in the middle. And have you ever watched Top Gear, the car program? Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
I'm from the same town as Jeremy Clarkson. He's from Doncaster as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, sa mga mahilig dyan
Yeah,
sa Top
the
Gear.
tall guy. Yeah, the one who says, you know, that it's like the best town
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy. Yeah, so he's from Doncaster.
I need to watch that then, so that I'll be familiar with that. So Top Gear is also from Doncaster, and no pala, yeah, that's right. And you are also same town with our boss Eric Macmillan.
Boss Eric, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same place, same town. Okay. Before you were able to like go into sales, can you tell something about yourself that made you very appropriate for that kind of profession?
I think being mad helps. That's always a good place to start. So when I left school, there wasn't that much around in jobs, and so as we all know, a lot of us fall into sales because you can't get quote unquote a proper job, right? But once you actually realise what sales is all about, how you get rewarded, how if you do it properly, you're going to be helping other people to achieve their goals, then the last thing you want is a proper job, you know, because you can help more people, have more time, have more money, have more freedom, and all the good stuff, rather than being sort of shackled to just a JOB, which, by the way, is a good acronym for just over broke.
Just over broke, yeah. I heard that to one of your YouTube accounts.
Yeah, well, the great thing about sales, if we, you know, I discovered at a fairly early age. Probably, I was probably about 19 when I had my first life insurance sales job, and I discovered this wonderful thing. You've probably heard of it. It's called commission. Yeah.
Commission, yeah.
And this was a life-changing moment for me personally. Yeah. So I got into financial services, sales, that's life insurance, pensions, mortgages at quite an early age, and I was very heavily influenced by some successful people in that industry at the time. So for me, it was just really a natural. And my mum was always on the telephone. She was a telephone professional, so she was a telephone operator.
Your mom?
But yeah,
Your mother?
My mother, yeah. Back in the day, she was a telephone operator, so she was like very aware and always corrected you. If she heard me on the phone at all, she'd always correct me about my speech, about my tonality, about my diction. And at the time, like often we think about parents, don't we? We think, oh, please, you know, stop nagging me or something like that. But she was actually, I didn't know it at the time, teaching me the core skills of speaking to people and communicating even with people on the telephone, which is what I've done for most of my sales career.
Wow, you're very lucky to have a mom that has a skill and that's an expert on telesales.
Yeah, although I didn't think so at the time. But
Yeah.
then again, you know, the lesson or the realization of the lesson often comes afterwards, doesn't it?
That's
You
right.
know? Mm.
And what's important always in sales is the result, right? Like the commission, the one that you said. Maybe if you can inspire us more. Back there in Europe, how were you able to, how fast were you able to earn your first million?
Well, when I went to there's a city, the nearest city to where I come from is a place called Sheffield, and this was the big city. This was way before I went to live in London. And if you can imagine, I walked into this life insurance sales office, and it's full of guys in suits, all talking like, you know, £10,000, which is about $15,000 at the time, per month incomes. And to put that into perspective for you, my father was probably earning about £5,000 a year.
Wow.
So I walk into this room, there's guys talking about Rolexes, Porsche. This is the first time I've ever heard of a Rolex when I go in, or a Porsche or anything like this. So it was a massive culture shock for me. And I tell you what, I embraced it like crazy. My parents weren't too happy with my sudden shift in attitude, but yeah, it was a total culture. I was looking for Michael Douglas or Charlie Sheen. I thought I'd walked onto the Wall Street set. I'm like, where is Gordon Gekko now? You know. So this is what it was like for me, and I quickly, in my first month knocking on doors, selling life insurance policies, I made around about £6,000, which was
£6,000
in 1 month.
in 1 month.
In one month.
And your dad is earning 5,000
a year. And just to put it in perspective, this was in round about 1985, 86, probably before you. When were you born?
1987.
Yeah, there you go. So when you were
when I was 10 years
I
old.
was knocking on doors selling life insurance, earning £6,000 a month.
6,000.
Yeah.
Is that a big money in Europe already? Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge.
It was huge.
Yeah, it was huge.
Were you able to buy your own Rolex?
Yeah.
How about your own Porsche?
You know what? Here's the funny thing. I don't know whether you're sentimental or nostalgic, but I've still got my first Rolex. I've owned loads and loads and loads of them and sold them or traded them in, got other watches. But I kept my first one.
Really?
From like 25, 27 years ago. Yeah.
And you still have it? Yeah?
I still have it, yeah.
Wow. I'll do that also to me soon.
Do it, yes.
Yeah, I hope you can teach me how.
You've got it.
Okay,
You've
I
got
want to
do
say
it.
hi first to Malabad, Galbizo, and Madelo. Thank you for watching. Hi. And also to Direk Raymond Padolina. Direk, there are a lot of mga movie actors sa Europe na hindi ko kilala. Pero ikaw nagre-react ka kaagad. Ang galing din. Anyways.
£6,000 is about $500,000.
$500,000 pesos? Wow.
400,000.
Amazing. Tapos, he earned his first $1 million in, not dollars, it's in pounds, right?
When a £1,000,000 before. This is an interesting story,
Yes,
actually.
please.
And it's one of those things that I would say, I don't say it to impress people, but to impress upon people that it's possible.
That it's
because I had
possible,
very
yes.
little formal education, and after I left the life and pensions business, I went into selling alternative investments. And I went with about, I always remember this was probably in about 1993, so I was under the age of 30, because I'm born in 1965, do the maths, yeah.
52.
Yes,
Got it.
because I told you that earlier.
Yeah, that's right.
You're not that quick, really, are you?
I'm just
So,
quick in remembering.
He's trying to make himself look like Einstein, like a mathematical genius.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
so
I do.
yeah. So here's the thing. So I joined this company selling investments, and they had a new product, and it was really, really hard to sell. We were just selling over the telephone, and we're getting no traction, no action, nothing's happening. And I'm with about 5 or 6 other guys who joined at the same time as me. 3 of those guys left after a month or 2. They gave up, and they went back to what they were doing before, you know. I stayed because I didn't really, at the time, I didn't have anything that I wanted to go back to, so I stayed. And then the hard work and the effort and the pain started to pay off, and you get one sale, and then you get another, and then you get another. And within that first year, I made over £1,000,000 in straight commission in that particular gig. And that was all selling on the telephone.
Wow, and that was all selling on the telephone.
All selling on the telephone. So all the stuff that I've done in my life that I've had big success at has been telesales based. It's been talking to usually investment clients on the telephone and taking them through a process is usually a 3 to 6 call process.
Yeah.
To get them onboarded as a client. That's what I've done, spent my life doing, and I really enjoy it because you get a good connection with people, and if you know how to communicate with people, you can get a really strong relationship with them just over the telephone.
Just over the telephone. Actually, that's the one that I want to know, and I want to learn from our interview this afternoon for the next 1 hour. Is it really possible for you to, like, just like what you did in Europe? How can we also do that in the Philippines? Can we learn that from you?
I think you
And
can
how?
do it. I think you can do it anywhere. I think it's a matter of focusing on the core, old school skills of communication. Yeah. For example, I'll never forget years and years ago. I rang a guy up. I was cold calling. I ring this guy up, and I just asked for him by his first name. You know. And he literally ripped my head off down the phone. You know, he's like let's say, I can't remember his name, but let's say his name was George Smith or something like that. I just said, "Is that George?" And the guy went berserk and said, "How dare you call me by my first name when you don't know me? It's Mr. Smith." And I never, ever, ever forgot that, you know? And so I think these old school methods when you're talking to people on the phone, is that Mr. Smith? Yeah. May I call you George? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Things like, you know, is it a convenient time? I mean, let me ask you a question.
Yes, please.
You receive cold calls on your phone sometimes,
Yep.
and they just start talking to you. They call you by your first name without getting permission, and then they just start talking to you as if you were, you know, just hanging around waiting for that call, really. It's the best thing that's ever happened to you. They don't ask you, you know, you could be having dinner, you could be sat on the toilet, you could be
Yes.
doing anything, you know. So I think saying, is it a good time to speak now? Is it convenient? All those just little old school courtesies are really, really good, because it's the first impression that you create with that prospective client, isn't it? And if it's a bad one, that you're rude and ignorant and pushy, then I don't think you're getting off on the right foot, personally.
Talagang direct ano siya, no? It's all about ethics din.
Yeah, etiquette.
Boss Eric Macmillan, our boss, would always emphasize the word ethics to us.
Absolutely. Ethics and etiquette and courtesy and
Courtesy, yes.
just sort of old school communication
Old school
skills.
communication skills.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So
What do you
can,
think?
because what I was taught before in selling is that I can only use telephone calling for appointment setting. But you're doing it all in telephone.
Yeah, we've done many sales over the telephone.
Over the telephone.
and
Without
lots-
even having an appointment, a meetups.
without meeting face to face.
So how do they pay? Credit card? Do you have a credit card at that time?
Well, what happened with a lot of the firms that I've worked with
Yes.
before, either working directly for or helping, is that you would first of all start the call by introducing yourself, again, finding out if it's convenient for that person to speak, and then finding out if they're interested. But you've usually got that person's name from a list. So you would have got it from an investor list or a property list,
That's
or
right.
somebody who is what we would say potentially in that marketplace for your goods or services. Yeah. So you strike up a relationship, and then I don't know, maybe a 5 or 10 minute call, and they say, you know what, Purge, I'm going to stick you a brochure in the post. Yeah. So can I take your address, and then we mail you a brochure. And then I'm going to ring you back 3 or 4 days later. I'm going to get some feedback from you, and then we start up there. And it goes from there. Maybe a few more calls. Maybe you want your wife involved on the next call or something like that. And then after 4 or 5 or 6 calls, I'm going to say to you, well, is this something you feel you'd like to go ahead with? It sounds like it ticks all the boxes for you. You're welcome to come to the office at any time, but look, let's save time. Let's get the deal rolling now.
Wow,
We'll get the
let's save
paperwork
time
out.
and
Yeah.
let's get the ball rolling now.
The ball rolling, yeah, absolutely.
The ball.
Yeah. You mentioned
I like
you
that.
wanted to talk to me about Bob Proctor earlier.
Yes, I want also to talk about Bob Proctor.
Mm.
So it's really possible, but before going to Bob Proctor, it's really possible to close sales on a telephone. So telesales, okay, very effective. Even now.
Totally.
Okay.
I think it's a cultural thing though, because I think here in Asia, people like to meet on a face-to-face basis more so. That's why there's so many events at weekends in hotels where people come for a bit of food and drink and to watch a presentation. But in the UK, Europe, and in the States, it's very much a telesales culture.
You save money, you save time for that.
Save time, save money, do the deal over the phone, or do it...
More revenue for the company.
Nowadays, a lot of the time as well, deals are done in a conjunction with, I've got you on the telephone, and can you get online, please, on your iPad or something, and you take people through you even take over the computer and actually do a presentation online for them, or even do presentations on Zoom or Skype video, so you can actually meet each other and see each other.
Yeah, they're doing that now. Yeah. Like one of the companies that I'm working for in Germany, they're doing this, what they call webinar?
Webinars, yeah.
Webinars are also the same.
Absolutely. So, for example, my wife works within the multi-level marketing industry. So a big contrast, what they do in Europe, they might have a meeting on a Tuesday night, they might have 10 leaders organize that meeting. They've got maybe, 10 or 15 invites each. So maybe 150 or 200 people come into the meeting. But it's not a meeting in a hotel, it's not a meeting at an office or a venue. Everybody gets on Zoom or Skype video at the appointed time. Somebody leads the call. They'll do whiteboard on there or PowerPoint. And that is the meeting, and that's the presentation. And then after 1 hour, everybody says goodbye, thank you very much. And then they'll go back to the people who invited them either over the phone or meet for coffee next day, and then sign up into the deal. That's how it works over there. Yeah.
Wow. So you can also do that now. You're an expert of that, like webinars. You can teach that to people.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about it, it saves time, because how many times do you invite people to come along to a function? There's bad traffic, or the car breaks down, or something comes up, but people can usually always attend at a far higher rate if they're at home.
I want that for myself. Actually, I'm just having difficulty on adopting to the current like digital marketing world. But when you told me that since politely you're 52 years old, but you're able to adopt to this digital marketing world. You have your phone there, video, you have your YouTube channel, you mentioned about your LinkedIn account, and what other accounts do you need for you to be updated in the digital marketing world?
Well, there's a thing, isn't it, that word you mentioned, adopting or adapting. You've got to adopt, you've got to adapt, and then what you've got to do is practice it, and then hopefully after you've adopted and adapted, you become adept at it.
Adapt.
But it's which means good. Yeah, yes. you get a nosebleed because you're practicing so much.
I like that. Adapt.
Adapt, and then become adept at it.
Adapt.
So that's through practicing. I think that anybody anybody who doesn't recognize the shift that we're going through now with communication, with the way that we do business, with the way that everything is done, and it's shifting so quickly because of the internet and because of social media. If people don't recognize that, they're insane and they're going to get left behind because things are changing. And ironically, paradoxically, the only consistent thing in our lives is change.
It's change. Yeah.
That's it. That's an oxymoron.
Yeah,
we were talking about oxymorons
Yeah, we were
earlier.
talking about oxymorons.
We were
so-
talking about morons as well, but we're not going to that.
Yeah, not bad. But how many hours do you spend for your digital marketing? Like for you to go to your LinkedIn, YouTube? Because I'm like for myself, why I'm not doing it, because I think I will spend so much time. So can you maybe teach us how to have some
sure.
tips on how to go about it more effectively and efficiently?
So, for example, somebody just came up with this phrase here, stormtrooper,
Yeah.
So that gave me an idea, the stormtrooper thing from Star Wars, stormtrooper syndrome, about people becoming like, drone-like and just following one another like sheep or something like that. So that might give me an idea to write like a 500 or 600 word blog, yeah? So I'll publish that on my WordPress, I can share that to LinkedIn, I can share it to Facebook, yeah? I mean, I can do a condensed version of that for other social media channels. I can also share it via email. But what it also gives me, because I have a SoundCloud account as well.
SoundCloud?
Yeah.
Direct familiar ka SoundCloud account?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You upload audio files to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that gives me then I can do a podcast, yeah, with the same subject, with the same material, and I can also do a YouTube video. Yeah. So that gives me. So all just one idea will give you 7 or 8 different ways of putting it out there and expressing it in the digital world. Does that make sense?
Is there a chance to automate it all, like one brand like LinkedIn, and then you can just send it to all, something like that?
Yeah,
Is there a way?
There is a way to do that, and the name of that particular bit of software, that app, escapes me right now. But
Yes.
there is. But what I find personally is it's better to come up with the core idea, write it, record it, because I would do a YouTube video on that particular subject, for example, and I might do that slightly differently and have slightly different language and tonality to what I did if I was recording it just for a podcast for people to listen to. So I think sort of tweaking it for each platform is the way forward as well, not just doing it exactly the same. You might as well just put it out on one,
That's right. So you're saying about podcast, YouTube, and then you're tweaking it, and all this information came from the books that you read, and maybe one of your favorite authors is Bob Proctor? Something
Yeah,
like that.
my favorite author. I mean, I've just written a book recently myself. I called it Notes from a Salesman: How You Can Get 30 Years in 30 Minutes. That was the strap
How
line.
do you get 30 years in 30 minutes?
Well, so I've been doing this for about 33 years, yeah? So in 30, I'm always a believer when we learn in short little bits, not in a long bit, because we don't retain it all, but in short little doses. So 30 years worth of experience or more, which I've got, in 30 minutes I can give you some really good insights and some good tips that hopefully, if you take them on board and they resonate with you, that you can put them to work in the real world and improve your results, yeah? But we keep doing that. It's an ongoing process, Yeah, it's an ongoing process.
And in this 30
So-
minutes, you already published it. It's already in YouTube?
No. It's about to be published on Amazon and in hard copy. The book is actually, you asked me who my favourite authors are.
Yes.
So one of my favourite authors from back in the day was Anthony Robbins, yeah?
Yes,
Tony
yes,
Robbins.
Tony
So
Robbins.
Tony Robbins wrote a great book. One of his first books was called Notes from a Friend. It's a really cool little book. So I kind of borrowed the inspiration of that title and called this book Notes from a Salesman, yeah, because that's literally what it is, yeah. Other favourite authors of mine were people like Earl Nightingale, Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, which we've got on the desk here, Bob Proctor, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, guys like that. So all the sort of self-help, personal development and sales coaches from back in the day. And then there was an English guy who I used to have as my mentor, personal mentor, called Richard Denny, who passed away sadly last year. He wrote a lot of great books like Selling to Win, Motivate to Win, Negotiate to Win. And he was one of the top speakers and authors and motivators and TV personalities in this genre in the UK, and I was very privileged to have him as my personal mentor for a few years.
What's his name again? Sorry.
His name was Richard Denny.
Richard Denny. And I saw
Yeah.
also one of your blogs is Big Al.
Yeah, so Big Al is
Yes.
Big Al is actually called Tom Schreiter, and he
Tom
is one
Schreiter.
of the biggest, if you like, motivational coaches and gurus within the actual network marketing fraternity. Yeah, direct sale, that particular genre of direct sales. Yeah, yeah, he's really cool actually. He came out with this great phrase, you know, because you guys obviously understand the principles of MLM and network marketing. He came out with this really cool phrase, and he said that most of us, well, most people do network marketing every single day of the week, but they don't get paid for it.
That's right.
And what he meant by that, have you ever been to a restaurant, dude, and like you break your neck to ring your friends to tell them to go there, or not to go there if it was bad, but either way, if it was good, you're recommending that restaurant, or you're recommending, you know, I said to you earlier, go and watch that film, American Made, yeah? So I'm recommending that, I'm putting money in the cinema's pocket, I'm putting money in Tom Cruise's pocket by saying, you know, go and watch this film, it's amazing, but no one's paying me. I'm not getting a commission from anybody for doing that.
That's right.
So that's what he means by most people do network marketing, but they don't get paid for it.
Because
It's cool, eh?
yeah.
Yeah.
So they call that network marketing. It's not just promotions. We can just
It's
put it like
referrals, isn't it?
referrals.
It's social selling, it's referrals, it's whatever you want to call it. I mean, labels, they're worth nothing. Yeah.
Okay. So what is very special about Bob Proctor? Why were we like, why did you put it there?
So Bob Proctor, somebody gave me a tape about 25 years ago and said, listen to this tape. And it was Bob Proctor speaking. He was actually speaking as a keynote speaker for an MLM company. And I was completely blown away when I heard his message, because his message is all about altering your paradigm, yeah? So his message is like you are made up basically of two things, yeah? Your environmental conditioning, which is everything that's around you and your influences, your parents, your friends, your peer groups, your teachers, and your genetic conditioning. So you might have a great-great-grandfather that maybe somebody older in your family had met, but you'd never met because you're too young to have ever met him. But they say, you know what, Perjon, you're just like your great-great-grandfather. You look like him. You've got the same movements, you know, that type of thing. That's your genetic conditioning, yeah? But your environmental conditioning is like what people say to you and what builds up your personality, whether it makes you confident, whether it raises your self-esteem or otherwise, yeah? So he was saying if we're raised with a healthy amount of negativity or a lack of self-confidence, we can actually change that by altering those paradigms. Once we're aware, you know, we talked about this word consciousness before.
Consciousness,
yeah. So anything, if you're aware of it, you can address the problem, you can address the issue, you can try and change it. We can work on it.
We can work
exactly.
on it.
But if we're not even aware, and this was the stormtrooper syndrome, because so many people go through life and they just follow and they don't think for themselves, yeah?
Yeah.
And Earl Nightingale, who Bob Proctor used to work for, and many call Earl Nightingale the Dean of Personal Development, he said most people would rather die than think for themselves, than really think for themselves, yeah? So that's really what it's all about. And Bob Proctor just had a really strong message. And then he had massive success working within financial services companies as a trainer back in the day. And then obviously Rhonda Byrne wrote the book called The Secret, all about the law of attraction, and Bob spearheaded the film. And another friend of mine was in that film, a guy called Mike Dooley, who has a website called Totally Unique Things, TUT.com. He's from Florida. He's a really cool guy as well. Yeah. So I think after that film came out, a lot of these guys almost became household names, you know?
Yeah, especially Bob Proctor, yes.
Yeah, totally.
But what are the challenges that you're having whenever you're doing this motivational speaking or like altering people?
Remembering what to say.
Paradigm shift.
Yes, shifting my own paradigm. How do you mean particularly
Like
the
what
challenges?
I mean is the challenge is like if you go to a group, right? How long does it take for you to change their paradigm?
Well, it depends if they're listening for a start.
Or do they really want to change their paradigm?
Do people really want to change?
Because the challenge of thinking and dying, right?
Yeah.
They'd rather die than think. But
yeah.
so how can we? Is there really a way?
Well, we
Because-
talked about change earlier,
Yes.
yeah, and if you could, and about people making decisions, yeah, and we're going to go on to this this 7D thing in,
So
in a
those are-
moment, yeah.
okay.
So the first word here on this 7D program is decision, yeah, and decisions lead to change, and we've said that change is the only consistent thing in life.
Yes.
Yeah? But why did we say people shy away from making decisions? Can you remember?
Yes, because they don't want to be accountable to the mistakes that can happen.
Yeah, it's like if you're in the workplace. Imagine there's 20 people around the table, and the person leading the group says, "You know what? We're doing a brainstorming session, guys. Can anyone give me some thoughts on this?" Yeah, and everyone sits there. Well, are you telling me that no one's having any thoughts? They're not. I mean, they are,
Yes,
but they're
yeah.
just, most of them are usually too afraid or too self-conscious to actually put their hand up for fear of being ridiculed, for
That's
fear
right.
of having the wrong answer. It doesn't matter if you're wrong. You know what? If you have a good idea, I honestly think, because I've had the worst ideas in the world, I've had some disasters, so as well as successes and making money, I could sit here till this time next week and tell you about money that I've lost, bad decisions I've made, bad deals I've got into, etc. But that's called part of life. And I think nowadays, a lot of people, they're conditioned. It's like this thing in schools where competition's taken away and like nobody wins, nobody loses. But you do win and lose in life, because that's called life, you know? And so this whole decision thing, people would rather not make a decision and stay still and just stay in the same place because it's warm, it's fuzzy, it's comfortable, it's all nice and safe. But they don't realise if they don't move forward, they're going to get left behind anyway, and that's going to be a lot more unpleasant than adapting to a bit of change, like we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier. Make sense?
Yes, makes sense. But sometimes, I also think that sometimes I need to ask other people to make a decision for me. Because, for example, I'm not an expert of that aspect or that project. Then I'd rather, let other people decide.
But why would you want other people to decide what your life is going to look like going forward?
Because they have a better track record in that area.
So you might want to take advice, you might want to take counsel, but at the end of the day,
You'll
I think
still decide.
You have to decide for yourself, and you have to go with the thing that the blessing and the curse that human beings have got is we've been all given a thing called an intellect. An animal does not have an intellect. So if an animal is going to attack you, it doesn't look at you, and a lion or a cheetah doesn't look, yeah, I don't like the look of this guy, I'm going to maul him to death. He doesn't stop to think, he just operates on instinct. And
yes.
a lot of the time, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been sort of weighing something up, deciding over something, and you've got this feeling that it's either the right thing or the wrong thing to do, but it's a feeling here
Yes.
in your gut.
Yep. I
But
have
you've used your brain to talk you out of going with that feeling. You've justified it and you've rationalised with your brain, and then you've gone down the road, you've made the wrong decision, and later on you found out you've made the wrong decision. You should have gone with the gut feeling. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, it happened to me many times, of course. That's why I really want to know more about your decision thing. Most of this, the 7Ds, what are our bases?
So I like playing around with words and semantics and stuff. So I came up with this 7D
You
thing.
created this by yourself?
I created it all by myself. Yeah, all by myself. Yes. Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Sir Steve.
All by myself, yeah. And really, I created this for coaching. So I coach like salespeople or CEOs and that, but I do a lot of it on the phone as well, or on a Zoom call or on a Skype video call. So I'd say, well, we just talked about this. How do you feel about decision? Yeah,
Yes.
Personally, are you good at making decisions? Are you bad? Do you procrastinate? And we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about how dedicated, so dedication is the second word. How dedicated are you to achieving your goals? Let me ask you that question right now. Let me put you on the spot, Perjon.
Sure,
how
no problem.
dedicated are you, dude, to achieving your goals?
My goals is more important than the air I breathe.
Yeah? So you're really dedicated. So on a scale, has everybody got that? So on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you be in terms of dedication to your career and your goals? Would you be around about a 9 or a 10 or
Always
an 11?
a maximum, yeah. Always a maximum.
The maximum. That's cool.
10.
And then this is another word here, and this is a word which has usually got a bit of a negative connotation, and it's this word discipline.
Yeah.
So let me again ask you, what feelings do you get, what thoughts do you get when we mention the word